Now that we successfully implemented our case statement, we're going to explore our second conditional expression, and that's using an if function. So the way that we use an if function is also similar to the Salesforce formula. You're going to use IFF. You'll open the parentheses, and first we need to give it an expression. So what we're going to do is build upon this same condition, and we're just going to check if it's a multi-location. So we're going to say if the number of locations is greater than 1, then what we want to say is, then we want to give it the value 1, comma, if the expression evaluates as false, we'll give it a 0. And so the name of this field is multi-location. So once again, the if condition, first you want to give it a condition to evaluate. So we're going to say, is the number of locations greater than 1? If this condition evaluates to true, we're going to give it the value 1. And if it evaluates to false, we're going to give it the value 0. And so when we go ahead, now one thing that I'm missing that you need to make sure, in fact, I'll let it error. So you can see here that we're missing the comma because this is going to be a new column. So now if we try running it, it should run. And if we scroll over to right, you can see here that all of these meet the true condition. So let's look at number of locations. So you can see all but one of our values has multiple locations. So you can see that our condition to evaluate where number of locations is greater than 0 all resolved true except for one record. So the outcome that we're looking for, which is the ability to count the number of multi-location leads, is set up the way that we'd like. Now, when you're using this if conditional expression, we definitely do not recommend nesting these expressions. In that particular case, it would be recommended to use a case statement and not use nested if conditions. We know, having evaluated enough Salesforce formula fields, I know there's a desire to build a nested case state or nested if statements, but that's definitely not something I recommend in SQL. So this should give you multiple ways to approach conditional expressions using a case function or an if function. So now as you're approaching these conditional formulas, you have two options at your disposal. You have the case function and you have the if function.